how much is your benefit? So with United, you guys have a unique calculation. And so essentially, you're going to take 1,026 hours. You're going to cut that in half. So divide that by 2. And then you're going to multiply that result by your hourly rate. And then you're going to divide by 12. And that is what your monthly long-term disability or loss of medical benefit is going to be.
You're listening to The Pilot's Portfolio, the show dedicated to guiding professional pilots towards a future of financial success and stability. Fly along with your host, Timothy P. Pope, as he provides financial planning insights and answers to your burning questions and dives into real-life stories from fellow pilots who share their successes and cautionary tales. The Pilot's Portfolio takes off now.
Welcome back to another episode of Pilot's Portfolio, guys. Today, we are having another look at loss of medical, this time with United Airlines. And I want to say, guys, thank you for the great feedback on these episodes. I really appreciated the emails and the comments. I learned something. There's so many flashy things in personal finance, investments, investment returns, tax reduction strategies, and so on. But through these episodes that I learned that pilots also care about what happens if they go out on disability. Well, of course you care, right? We'd hate to see the income that we've come to rely on and that we've worked so hard to get to where you are. We'd hate to see that go up in smoke. And so, know before you go. Awareness is key. So thank you for your feedback on disability. So before I go any further, let me introduce myself. Timothy P. Pope here, certified financial planner, specializing in the planning needs of the professional pilot. I also want to make another note. Guys, one of the things that I like about doing this show is when I get to interact with you all, with the listeners, and I finally have a little bit more capacity now than I have had previously, and I would love to engage with you. So send us your financial questions to info@pilotsportfolio.com. I'd love to feature your question on the show. Maybe you're interested in coming on the show and asking your question live, and then we can walk through it. So let us know. Send us your questions, info@pilotsportfolio.com. Now, in today's episode, as I just mentioned, we are exploring the loss of medical benefits that United pilots have through their contract. And while I must say, if I had to choose a favorite, you probably heard in the last episode, if you listened to the Southwest episode, you heard that Southwest was my favorite. They have my favorite loss of medical benefits. And I listed out the reasons why. So if I had to choose one that was not my favorite, here it is. It's United. United's loss of medical benefit is not my favorite. So I just presume that as you guys were negotiating this in your last contract, there were bigger fish to fry. And so some of these provisions, while not terrible, not bad, but when compared to your peers, I think there's some room for improvement. So let's go through this. With your loss of medical, the definition of disability is essentially the loss of your first-class medical. I think when you read the language, it's a little bit more flowery than that, but it comes down to if you're not able to hold your first-class medical, you are going to go out on disability. Now, every insurance that we buy typically has some kind of elimination period, and that's a waiting period. Okay, so you buy the insurance, or in your case, United buys the insurance, and then you lose your medical. They are not going to pay out on day one. You're going to apply for the claim, and then you have to wait 60 days before your benefits will kick in. So that means that you need to have a sick bank that you can tap, or that also means you need to have an emergency fund that can help you out for 2 months worth of expenses there before your loss of medical benefits kick in. Now, let's talk about the taxability of your benefits here. With your contract, your benefits are automatically after tax. Now, when compared to your peers, Southwest and American have choices that they can elect every year, whether they want to have a tax-free benefit or a taxable benefit. With Delta, it's automatically pre-tax. With United, it's automatically after tax. Now, I can't say that I'm too upset or upset at all about it being automatically after tax because, quite frankly, most days of the week, I'm going to want an after-tax loss of medical benefit. So if you take your loss of medical benefit after tax, then when you get it, you do not have any taxes to pay on it. And it's going to be closer to your take-home pay than if you took a pre-tax benefit and then you had to pay taxes on what you received. Now, here's the trade-off, though. This means that every time you get paid, twice a month, you're going to see some imputed income for a loss of medical or long-term disability benefit. So you are paying some tax now on the imputed income there. And then if you go out on claim, those dollars are going to be tax-free. You don't have to worry about managing it or setting anything aside or having a tax withholding or anything like that. Now, how much is your benefit? So with United, you guys have a unique calculation. And so essentially, you're going to take 1,026 hours. You're going to cut that in half. So divide that by 2. And then you're going to multiply that result by your hourly rate. And then you're going to divide by 12. And that is what your monthly long-term disability or loss of medical benefit is going to be. Now, here's the thing. Delta has a 3-year look back. You can smash, do really well, and they will find your highest 12 consecutive months in a 3-year period, and they're going to give you 50% of that number. With American, it's 5 years. They'll find your highest 12 consecutive months in a 5-year period, and then they're going to give you 50% of that number. Southwest, they're going to look back at your last 12 months and then give you 50% of that number. So with United, you have this calculation, right, that I just went over. Here's the other thing that United has that others don't have, and this is what I don't like about the loss of benefit that you guys have at United. There's a cap. So in 2025, your monthly disability earnings cap is $14,913 a month. So that means if you are earning $358,000 or more, you're going to hit the cap. Now, in 26 and 27, your contract increases your cap to the following amount. So in 26, your disability maximum or your cap is $15,509 a month. So if you're earning $372,000 or more, you're going to hit the cap. And then in 2027, as I mentioned, it goes up again to $15,975 is the cap per month that you can receive on disability. So that means if you're earning in 2027 $383,000 or more, and I'm rounding up to the nearest thousand here, you are going to hit the cap. So I'm not a fan of the cap, right? If somebody goes out and they are just really crushing it, and then they happen to go on disability, like, I'm a fan of, hey, give them 50% of what they've earned. But I'm not negotiating for you guys, so take that up with your union representatives for the next contract cycle. Now, just like your peers in the industry, if you go out on disability, United will continue to make those non-elective contributions to your PRAP, and they're supposed to make it to your market-based cash balance plan as well. But since that hasn't been approved just yet, you can expect 50% of the NEC that you will receive to go to your PRAP, and then 50% you can expect that as taxable earnings. So I suppose, that may not be a bad deal, since you guys have that cap anyways. The disability payment is going to be after tax. That may not be a bad deal to receive 50% of your NEC as taxable earnings. And then if you don't need it, just go invest in a brokerage account. Right? Maybe that can stick around even when your market-based cash balance plan is approved. So you can expect that. You're still going to get your NEC that you know and love. Now, I don't think it's going to be on your full pre-disability amount, though. It looks like it's going to be some mixture between what you're actually receiving and then adding the monthly cap onto it. So you could take a look at that to see what your NEC is going to be. There is really only one offset to your loss of medical benefit, and that is if you earn compensation from the company. And that's the offset that I was able to find. But this taxable earnings of your NEC that you can receive is not going to reduce your long-term disability benefit there. So you can keep that in mind.
Hey, pilot, are you looking to save 20% on the sale or purchase of your next home? Let me tell you about a friend of the show, Beacon Relocation. With Beacon's exclusive real estate benefit, you can save thousands. My family has actually used their services when we needed to sell a property that was multiple states away. Beacon has over 1,500 experienced agents providing outstanding service and expertise as they guide you through every step of the buying or selling process. They'll even connect you with a national lender who offers competitive rates and discounted programs. As a Pilot's Portfolio listener, you are eligible to receive 20% of the real estate agent's commission towards your closing cost on the sale or purchase of your home. Visit beaconrelocation.com today. Select Pilot's Portfolio via the Apply Now drop-down menu to activate your benefits and make your next move your best move.
Buyer credit varies in some states. Contact us for details.
Now, how long does your disability benefit last? Well, it goes out to age, mandatory retirement, FAA mandatory retirement. And then if you are receiving benefits because of drug or alcohol or substance abuse, you have 24 months available to you in that way. So, that's what you have contractually in your contract from United that they pay for and that you've received. So, hey, it's not bad overall. I mean, 50% after tax. We don't love the cap, okay? But otherwise, and then you're still getting the NEC. So there's actually a lot to like, but if I'm comparing them against everybody else, this one has to fall as my least favorite. By the way, talking about least favorite, I'm going to throw this bone in here about life insurance, okay? Negotiate this too next time you guys are getting a new contract. Right now, your life insurance for United pilots is pretty low. It's 2,052 times your hourly rate. So you do the math on what that means for you, but your friends at American are getting $750,000 that the company pays for and gives to them. Your friends at Southwest are getting $800,000 that the company pays for and gives to them. And your friends at Delta are getting a little over $1 million in company paid life insurance. So, 2,052 times your hourly rate seems to be a little low for the majority of your career when compared to your peers. And you guys are, you're doing the same job and just as skilled and, just as awesome as everybody else. So when you guys negotiate that, I'd say try to get a little bit more life insurance out of it. And then we hope you don't use it, but it's nice to have. Let's talk about what your long-term disability payments can be through ALPA, because you can supplement what United gives you through the union coverage, and ALPA is going to provide 3 options that you can take advantage of. There's the monthly base option, there's the plus option, and then there's the lump sum option as well. Now, before you go race out an open enrollment and shoot and just, Christmas tree this thing and buy everything under the sun, I always like to say this with insurance, right? Usually it's the one thing that we buy that we hope we do not have to use, okay? And so when you think about being able to supplement your long-term disability benefits, here's what you have available to you. In the base plan, you can supplement your loss of medical that United gives you up to an additional $6,000 a month, and you can do it in $600 increments, okay? That's what you can purchase it in. Now, the elimination period is 12 months. That means, hey, you go on claim. United's loss of medical is not going to pay you for 60 days. So you got to figure that out those first 2 months. Then they're going to pay you. And then the ALPA disability insurance is not going to pay you for 12 months. And then after that 12 months, then they're going to pay you. Now, their benefit will not last, this base one, will not last until full retirement age. It will last for 48 months is when that is how long that's good for. Now, the nice thing is it shares the definition of your own occupation. So I think that's important because as you know, as pilots, there's so many reasons you could lose your medical. And then there's so many other things that you could actually do to earn income. And I think another reason I like the fact that your United loss of medical does not have some of the offsets like some of the other carriers do, but the primary offset here is income or compensation from United itself. So there you go. You've got the base. You can go up to $6,000 a month 12-month elimination period. It'll last you for 4 years, and then it's going to go away. Now, if you happen to pass away while you're receiving the base payments, this insurance will give you 6 times whatever your monthly benefit was to your survivor. Okay, so we got a survivor benefit on this thing. So essentially, if you are receiving $6,000 a month, then they will cut a check for $36,000 for your survivor. All right. So let's see here. Let's look at the plus plan. All right. So with the base, we kind of understand it. It's a shorter term. It's good for 4 years. Then it goes away. The plus plan starts where your base plan stops. Okay, so the plus plan has an elimination period of 5 years. You go on claim with United. 5 years later, you're still on disability claim. And then the definition for the plus plan is any gainful occupation. Now, that is way broader than your own occupation. Okay, so that tells me a couple things. If the definition is so broad and the elimination period is so long, this is really designed for people who have some serious incident or disability where it's very likely that their flying days are behind them. And so that's where this plus plan would come in, and its benefit is 50% of whatever your base plan was going to be. So remember, we just said you can max out your base plan at $6,000 a month. And when that ends, if you had the plus plan, then that would give you 50% of that number, so $3,000 a month. Meanwhile, you're still getting whatever you were getting from the United loss of medical. So you've got this plus plan, and it also has a cost of living adjustment attached to it. So after you've been on benefits for 5 years, then you're going to start to receive a cost of living adjustment. That's nice, but it's probably a token, right? Because the amount is limited in nature. And so a cost of living adjustment on a small amount, while it helps, it's probably not moving the needle overall. So there you go. I mean, that's the base plan. That's the plus plan. And then there's one more that you have access to, and it's called the lump sum disability. So, if you go out on claim, you lose your medical. If you're not back flying in 12 months, then this plan would give you a single payment, okay, a lump sum. So up to $150,000, and you could buy it in $25,000 increments. And the definition here is own occupation, right? So you can think, wow, something happened. This is taking longer than I expected to get back. Here's an infusion of cash, and you could, use that for, essentially whatever you need. So those are the options that are available to you through ALPA, which is, you've got the National Disability Plan there. So as I said before you go race out and buy everything, just evaluate what your needs are. How would your family be, or what would your circumstance be if your income got chopped in half? How would you guys, be able to manage? We did a poll several weeks ago now, and I'd asked a question: would your monthly benefit, your disability benefits, be able to cover your monthly expenses? And 66% of the folks said yes. And I love that. I love that because they know what their disability payments are, and they also know what their monthly burn rate is. So that's awesome. So with that, that's going to do it, guys. Number one, I hope you don't lose your medical. But number two, if you do, this is what you have. And, despite me saying it's my least favorite, it's still a pretty decent plan. But your negotiators do have some work to do. So that'll do it for this episode. Join us on the next one. Send us your finance questions at info@pilotsportfolio.com, and we'll see you on the next show. Thank you for joining this episode of Pilot's Portfolio. If you found this information helpful, spread the word and share it with a pilot buddy. Or if you have questions and there's something that you would like to hear discussed on the show, send us an email. You can find the address in the show notes. For those of you who are ready to learn how we help professional pilots with their financial planning needs, schedule an appointment. Until next time, keep the shiny side up, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Pilot's Portfolio is hosted by Timothy P. Pope. Timothy P. Pope is principal owner of 360 Aviation Advisors, 360 Aviation Advisors is a registered investment advisory firm regulated by the state of North Carolina in accordance and compliance to the securities laws and regulations. 360 Aviation Advisors does not render or offer to render personalized investment or tax advice through Pilot's portfolio. The information provided is for informational purposes only and may not be suitable for all investors and does not constitute financial, tax, investment, or legal advice. All investments involve a degree of risk, including the risk of loss.